What's up YouTube, Heretic here, back with another video for you guys. This time we will be counting down my top 10 promising picks for the XY Roaring Skies expansion that has just been set into pre-release motion as I am recording this. We are in between week 1 and week 2. Week 2 pre-releases continue tomorrow. And so remember, I have not playtested all of this stuff. I've playtested a good chunk of it, but not across the entire meta. So these are not, I'm not guaranteeing anything. These are my promising picks, what I feel right now appear to be the top 10 cards in the set. Of course, if you watched my list for Primal Clash or any of the other sets I've done, there have always been a few goofs in there, you know? These things are almost impossible to get right, but we're going to give it a try. So coming in at number 10, we have Trainer's Mail. I'm still kind of getting used to the name. I'm used to Trainer's Post. It was the translated name. Same thing, really. It's a pretty simple item card. Lets you look at the top 4 cards of your deck. You add one of those cards to your hand, and you shuffle the other 3 back in. It has to be a trainer card you add to your hand, sorry. And so any kind of item, support, or stadium. The only trainer card you cannot add is another copy of itself. So you got to reveal whatever you grab. And you can fail it, of course, because the deck is private knowledge. So if that really be necessary, or if you don't want anything you see, definitely an option. But just, you know, another one of those cards like Acrobike and, you know, just Bicycle itself, Battle Compressor, you know, just all those item-based cards that just kind of slim the deck out and get you to the stuff you need a little quicker. Really kind of like pseudo item-based draw, in the same vein as Acrobike, in my opinion. Definitely a pretty solid card there. At number 9, we have the Dragon-type Mega Rayquaza. And this guy, his ancient trait actually is unique to him. It's Delta Wild. I think they should have just called it Delta Stream, but whatever. He takes 20 less damage from all fire, lightning, water, and grass-type Pokemon's attacks. So that's like 4 resistances right there, given the fact that he doesn't actually have a resistance to start with. 230 HP, 10 more than the other Mega Rayquaza, and for 3 fire, 1 lightning, and a colorless, he does 300 damage and discards 2 energies attached to himself. A couple of things are going to separate him from the 2 Mega Charizards, in my opinion. His evolution line is all Dragon-type, with the Dragon-type Rayquaza EX from the new set, or the old one, I guess, if you want, in expanded format. And that actually is going to come into play. And also the fact that Rayquaza has a Spirit Link while Charizard does not, and that's a big difference right there, ladies and gentlemen. So yeah, Dragon Ascent, 300, wipe out whatever's in your path. That's pretty much the gist of this guy. Number 8, Hydreigon EX. For me, this is really the sleeper card in the set. And again, this is a Dragons only kind of deal. I mean, this set mainly focuses on Dragon and colorless. And his attack for a Psychic, a Dark, and a colorless does 80 and cuts through other effects on the defending Pokemon, so like Safeguard and all that stuff. Intimidating Mane, I guess you could throw in there. Just any additional effects there might be. Shield Energy, I don't know. Hard Charm, whatever. But that's really not why we use him. We use him for his ability, which is Dragon Road, and that says that if there's a stadium card in play, which in most cases there will be, because most decks in the current format are going to be running stadiums, and of course if you run this, you'll run them yourself. And if there is one in play, all of your Dragon-type Pokemon's retreat costs drop by 2. This is incredibly convenient, seeing as to how Pokemon like this one have 2 retreat and are Dragon-type. Another card that Mega Rayquaza is paired with also has a 2 retreat, as does the Dragon-type regular Rayquaza EX in the new set. So A lot of synergy there. Of course, he doesn't give himself free retreat because he has a big fat 3 he has a big fat 3 for his retreat cost. But can't have everything. I still personally really like this card as a bench sitter. Don't really think you'd attack with him much unless you had to like get over a Sigalith or something though. Number 7 is a card that some people might actually be surprised by that it isn't a little higher. I know I was when I put this list together, and I was like, really? That far down? But that is Skyfield. And I guess the reason for that is because the reason this card is so good is because of what kind of support it gives to certain decks. As well as just throwing an anonymous, ridiculous number of Shamans down onto your bench whenever you feel like it. This is... Of course, you know, this is a card that just kind of opens up more possibilities, and that's always good. How frequently you're going to be able to actually bench 8 Pokemon, unless you're just playing something that outright, you know, pretty much demands you to. Probably not as frequently as some might think. This definitely causes some crazy things to happen. The colorless Mega Rayquaza, for one, gets a bigger attack out of this. Stuff like Empoleon, Shiftry... colors for 16 now is possible. My personal record at the moment is 15 in playtesting this stuff. This is a pretty good card. I can't really say otherwise. Again, I'm a little surprised that it ranked at number 7, but you know, again, I feel like on its own it doesn't quite do as much. It's as much as some of these other cards do. It's more what it does in combination, and I think that's what a lot of these cards are going to be. But really, just as a combo card, it's definitely a piece, and it's a very solid one at that. So that is number 7, Skyfield. At number 6, Reshiram, our first Dragon-type Reshiram, and anyone who remembers Celebi Prime probably understands this. He's a little more restrictive than Celebi was, in that not only do you get the Forest Breath, basically, with Turbo Blaze by... once per turn, if he's your active Pokemon, you can attach a fire from your hand without using up your energy card attachment. However, it does have to be onto a Dragon-type Pokemon. So again, Dragon-type Rayquaza with the Mega and the non-Mega, showing once again why they can be superior to Charizard. And Mega Charizard, you know, even the Dragon-type Mega Charizard, you have to Mega that thing before you can Turbo Blaze onto it. Rayquaza can just be like, feed me. So, that's kind of what this guy does, you know, these three kind of go together, if you know what I mean. So, yeah, definitely a fun little gig there, and a little Dragon-type Mega Rayquaza deck, which I think is a lot of fun to play. Not as good as the colorless deck, but maybe a little more enjoyable. Maybe. That's number 6. Number 5 is Winona, the big new supporter from the set. She's like a Pokemon collector of sorts, or a Pokemon fan club or whatever. She lets you grab 3 Pokemon from your deck, basic or evolution, the restriction being that they have to be colorless type. Now, a couple of big colorless Pokemon in this set got an ancient trait called Delta Evolution, which lets you evolve them the turn you bench the basic or on turn 1. And that's Altaria, which gets rid of weakness, and Mega Rayquaza, the colorless one. Both of those highly playable cards, and in the same deck, no less. So, I expect this card to see a lot of play. She can also grab the new Shaman. Can't really complain about that. So, yeah, again, a lot of versatility here with Winona. Great new supporter card of one of the Hoenn gym leaders. And really badass looking full art, too, I might add. So that is at number 5. That's where she comes in. Number 4, Mega Turbo. This is Dark Patch in a new way. So you grab a basic energy from your discard pile and you attach it to one of your Mega Evolution Pokemon. The way the translation was worded, it said Mega Evolved Pokemon. The way that it has actually come out, it says Mega Evolution. Yes, this works with primals, ladies and gentlemen. And apparently because of the way it is worded now, yes, it works with something that you have that you have played with Archie's Ace in the Hole or Maxie's Hidden Ball Trick. Mainly that's going to be the primals if you're playing Megas like that. I guess you could put a Mega Blastoise or something down with Archie. That might be fun. You get a basic energy of any type and you attach 20 of your Mega Evolution Pokemon in play. Doesn't even have to be on the bench, can be active. Great way to recharge the Dragon Mega Rayquaza, to charge up the colorless one, or really any Mega Evolution. All 4 of the ones in the new set seem to have their own little niche if they're not just straight out really good. The Primals, Mega Gardevoir, I guess, could be a possibility, although I think Xerneas is probably the preferred way to charge him up, or her, I should say. But, you know, again, a lot of possibilities here, and that's Mega Turbo, and I mean, just hope you don't draw a whole bunch of these early game, because they will clog your hand, and it does suck. Number 3, Mega Rayquaza, colorless type. As I mentioned, he has Delta Evolution, so you can evolve him on turn 1. With a Spirit Link, a Mega Turbo, and a double colorless, he can swing on turn 1 if you go second, and that's downright scary. When you consider his attack, Emerald Break does 30 damage for 3 colorless, times the number of Pokemon on your bench. He does not count himself, but that doesn't really matter because that's where this guy comes in. Skyfield allows you to not only break what would normally be a 150 damage cap, now all of a sudden that cap is 240 without anything like Muscle Band, you know, since you're probably going to have a Spirit Link on him. So conceivably, yes, he can hit 240 on the first turn if you go second. That's pretty scary. I've yet to see that happen, but the concept is definitely there with Mega Turbo and all that stuff, so yeah, it can happen. It is hypothetically possible at the very least. And this is just a fantastic card. The lightning weakness is also not as daunting as one might think, unless there's like a Garbodor down, because again, the new Altaria does take away the weakness of all colorless Pokemon, and that is a card that narrowly missed this list. Definitely would have been worthy of making it here. But, that's number 3, the colorless Mega Rayquaza. At number 2, we have Double Dragon Energy, and this one might seem a little, it might seem a little off being put up this high, but the power of a double Rainbow Energy, especially on types of Pokemon that tend to need kind of weird and wacky energy requirements, you know, that they tend to have. Sometimes have high energy costs, like that Dragon Mega Rayquaza, or the Dragon Mega Charizard, I guess you could say. Also fits in a lot, you know, like Dragon Mega Rayquaza discards 2 energy. There you go. Mega Latios discards 2 energy. There you go. Pretty simple there. It's a pretty unique card. If you keep it amongst dragon types, you can move it around with Aromatisse. That's kind of a funny idea there, I think. Probably won't happen too much, but it's definitely a thing if someone really wants to make it one. Yeah, just a really, really good card. Again, pseudo energy acceleration, much like double colorless in the manner of you get 2 energies at once. So I was expecting them to print Dragon Energy and have it be like a single Rainbow Energy for Dragon types with no like 10 damage or anything. Instead, they dropped this bombshell on us. So I can't really argue with this. This card's crazy. I guess making up for the fact that once we go to XY on, nothing will be weak to dragons. You gotta kind of give them a little boost, and they definitely did. And number 1 card in the set, of course, as you have probably guessed by now, is Shaymin EX. Anyone who remembers Uxie from, I'm gonna say 4th gen, because I wasn't playing then, which did setup when you, as a Pokepower, when you play it from your hand, you draw up to 7. This is almost the same thing. You draw up to 6 now instead of 7, and you're on a 2 prize body. And then Sky Return for 2 colorless does a minor 30 damage, but he jumps back to your hand with all cards attached, energy and whatever, and you can reuse setup again. Attack also in the same vein as Uxie. So really just kind of bringing back an old card in a new form. Being all colorless, you know, I mean, I guess as far as the attack goes, if you play double colorless, you can take advantage of that a little easier. Really just strictly for the ability, though, is just flat out crazy. Definitely something that I believe will benefit the game, as having draw power more reliably, I think, in the form of something other than a supporter. We've had some minimal item draw, and we've had a couple of evolutions that have provided some draw power with abilities like Delphox and Electrode. I really think the other big one that did something similar to this was Jirachi EX, which we pretty much all figure I think is going to rotate out of format after Worlds at the end of this summer. So this would be kind of a new card to take its place. I think it may actually do that already as soon as the set becomes legal, because this card is just crazy. And just the pure draw power without burning your supporter, leaving you able to draw cards and then still play like a Lysander or something to get an effect for a supporter, or maybe like an N or something, or a Colress for 16. In any case, that's our top 10 again real quick. Trainer's Mail, Mega Rayquaza EX, Dragon type, Hydreigon EX, Skyfield, Reshiram, Winona, Mega Turbo, Mega Rayquaza EX, Colorless type, Double Dragon Energy, and Shaman EX. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And that's what I got for you guys right now. I'll see you again soon. Cheers.